Say in Sweden, this pretty much is not the case. Typically, the neighbors, they don't go out of their way to talk to each other.
Time to react to the world.
Woo! Today we're going to get on our virtual airplane and head on back to Sweden. Because there have been some amazing recommendations from y'all of things to check out after we did a top 10 facts about Sweden. And it was just really interesting stuff. And everyone says, no, there's some more other interesting stuff out there. And one of them is this guy that everyone kept recommending called Stefan Thyron. I think he's a American dude who ended up moving to Sweden and started vlogging. So he's become a sensation in Sweden.
Holy cow!
And he just vlogs about his life there. And the Swedes love watching him. And I've watched a couple of his videos and I'm like, he's actually quite good. He's really fascinating.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe we need to get back into vlogging about, Las Vegas again.
We need to go to Sweden, not Vegas. Sweden.
Okay. Yes, we need to go to Sweden to start vlogging.
We need to go to Sweden.
I was gonna say, if nobody's watching our vlogs in Las Vegas, why is anyone going to watch our vlogs in Sweden? No one's even watching our vlogs, which is a good way to plug our vlogs. By the way, go watch our vlogs, John X Lulu on YouTube.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, he has a video out, 5 weird things that Swedes do. And I figured this would be a good way to learn about Sweden through another fellow American. And he's going, well, this is kind of weird. And so we'll be the judge of that because we know weird.
All right, because we're weird. We're weird.
Weird.
All right, let's do this.
Okay, yeah, let's check this out. And away we go.
What's up, guys? So for the most part, being an American living in Sweden, like Americans and Swedes, we have a lot in common. But after having lived here for over a year now, I've noticed that there are some things that people in Sweden do that are just a little bit weird for me. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the top 5 weird things that Swedish people do.
His cheeks are very red. I wonder if he was just drinking. A little bit drunk. Oh, beautiful shot. I love his B-roll.
Now the first thing that I think is just a little bit weird is that a lot of times Swedes will avoid eye contact with their neighbors. Now this is different depending on where you live in Sweden and who your neighbors are, because I know some Swedes that have great relationships with their neighbors as well, but in a lot of cases Swedes actually, avoid their neighbors. And here, I've lived in this place for like 15 months and I'm not really super close with any of our neighbors that live in this apartment complex. Like sure, if I see them, I'll say hi to them.
Yeah, but I think that depends on parts of the world. Like if you live in New York, you don't ever make eye contact with anybody. You just mind your own business. They freaking hate it when you interact with them. But like if you were in California, people are very friendly. Like, yo, how's it going, neighbor?
But it's not like a lot of places in America. And I'm not really super close with any of our neighbors that live in this apartment complex. Like, sure, if I see them, I'll say hi to them. But it's not like a lot of places in America where they have tight-knit communities with their neighbors and their people that live close by to them. And this especially sticks out to me, not where I'm from, but like in the Midwest. People in the Midwest are like extremely friendly.
Exactly. It's because of where he grew up. The Midwest America, friendliest folks in the world.
Parties together, and like if a family member from one family gets sick, all the people in the neighborhood will get together to help that person. And so that's a really, really cool vibe that people are so open and friendly in some of those communities. I would say in Sweden, this pretty much is not the case. Typically, the neighbors, they don't go out of their way to talk to each other a whole lot. And, they actually kind of avoid each other.
Are you really filming your navel doing that?
No, it's from the movie.
Oh, no, it's a movie.
No. It's like you think that's normal.
It's just a different culture here. They do keep to themselves a lot more, and that can take some getting used to.
I'm a little bit surprised with that because the Swedes that interact on that channel honestly come across like the nicest people.
Yeah.
From people who come from different cultures where people are a lot more open.
Isn't that the whole point of having neighbors, is to meet them?
No, the whole point of having neighbors is to fill the other apartments in the building. Hey.
Oh, here we go. Hello, my name is Bruce, and this is my girlfriend Emma. We just, I moved into the build. Okay. We'll see you around. I think we're in floor 2. But...
I love the editing.
The second weird thing that Swedes do is put ketchup on their pasta. Now I gotta admit, I'm actually guilty of this now that I've lived here for like 15 months.
We do that on our spaghetti.
Who does that?
We do that on our spaghetti.
Who's we? I sure as hell do not do that. That's gross.
Several times now, I'm kind of used to it. Like they'll make macaroni noodles and meatballs and have ketchup there.
Not like that though.
No. That is way too pungent and sweet on your pasta.
But like, don't tell my Italian grandparents that I do this, because I think they would have a fit if they knew that I was eating ketchup with pasta. The first few times I saw this, I thought it was extremely weird and pretty disrespectful to the pasta, to be honest.
Somebody touch my spaghetti!
Growing up with amazing Italian food back at home, like, it is kind of weird to me still, but it is kind of convenient if you want a quick meal. You know, it works, and it is just something that they do here in Sweden. Now, while we're on the topic of food, a few other things that Swedes do that I just think is a little bit weird is they will use like a fork and a knife for everything, whether they're eating pizza, hamburgers. I've seen people several times eat their hamburgers with a fork and knife. Now, this I have never seen in America. And also, like, when you buy
I would, but it's like
America,
this big.
It usually comes pre-sliced.
Well, the whole point of eating hamburgers with the bread is like a built-in, sandwich holder.
Where in Sweden, a lot of times people will cut their pizza with a fork and a knife, or if you make pizza at home, sometimes they'll even use like regular scissors to cut their pizza. I've never even seen that before.
I've seen that happen in Asia. Like in Korea, they will use scissors to cut their meats. If you go to restaurants.
Not pizza.
No, not pizza.
In America, pretty much we only use like pizza slicers, and everything's get pre-sliced. If you were at a restaurant or something and you order a pizza, it pretty much always comes sliced, so it's easy to just grab it and eat it slice by slice. And also to that point, I noticed that people don't really eat food when they're on the go as much as they do in America either. I think a lot of that has to go back to like the fika culture that they have in Sweden, where people like to take a break, relax, and sit down and enjoy a coffee or a snack or whatever it is they're going to be eating.
This sounds lovely.
A lot of times in America, people are so on the go and in a rush to go to the next place and do the next thing, and just so busy all the time that it's not uncommon to see people eating while they're walking down the street.
That's pretty much my life.
I'll just buy a protein bar on the go and eat it. You see people in the movies that will be in New York and they go eat a hot dog from the local hot dog stand, and they're just eating it on their way to the next meeting or something. I mean, that's just kind of how it is in America. There's a lot of like takeout food, fast food on the go, and you can just kind of eat on the run. Whereas in Sweden, people relax a little bit more, and maybe that is related to like the fork and knife culture, because when you're on the go, you can't really eat with a fork and knife. I mean, that'd be really tough. Have my little plate and cutting while I'm like, nah,
They take time and enjoy their meal.
I can get used to that. I just got to train myself to slow down.
I like that.
I just don't think that's going to work. The fourth thing that strikes me a little bit odd about Sweden is that a lot of times people in Sweden will actually have kids before they get married. And no, I'm not talking about like on accident. A lot of times people will just do this, and it's not something weird here in Sweden, where in America, this is really, really uncommon.
Actually, a friend of mine is like that. They didn't get married for a long time. Yeah, Swedish friends of mine, yeah. In fact, they eventually only decided to get married so that if one of them passes away, they can make sure the other person gets their stuff.
Wow.
But they're like, yeah, we don't have a culture of getting married, or we get married very late.
For people to start a family before being in a marriage. But here in Sweden, marriage isn't as big of a deal as it is in America. Actually, like if I were to marry a Swedish girl, it wouldn't have any repercussions for my permits and things like that. Basically in Sweden, you can become a sambo, which just means like you're a registered partner living with the other person. And basically in the eyes of the government and the migration office, being a sambo is just the same as being married. So you don't even have to be married to get all the same benefits basically as being a sambo. So I think in general, people in Sweden get married a lot later than they do in America. Like I've got friends in America who are already getting married. And in Sweden, people wait a lot longer. They'll wait till their late 20s, early 30s a lot of times to actually get married, which is a big difference in the culture, and I think that's totally fine.
Yeah, the U.S. is 28 because everyone in their mind, 30 years old is like, I got to get married by I'm 30. I'm going to be old as hell after 30.
I, myself, personally, am not looking to get married for quite a long time. I have a lot of goals and things that I want to accomplish before starting a family. But in America, things kind of happen in a certain order a lot of times. Like, you meet a girl, you settle down.
I mean, said most of my friends didn't get married till after 30.
And then you look into having kids and starting a family. Where here in Sweden, because marriage isn't as big of a deal, sometimes you'll just be with a person for a long time and decide that, hey, you want to have kids. And it's not necessarily weird to have kids before marriage, which in America, that's not common at all. And the last thing that I think is just a little bit weird here in Sweden is the TV tax that they have. In Sweden, if you own a TV, people will actually come to your house and see if you have a TV. And then if you do have a TV, you actually have to pay a special additional tax on it. And now that we're living in 2018, almost 2019, that sounds crazy to say. I feel like 99% of people are gonna have TVs. So why not just tax everybody? I think it's kind of weird that people have to like
come to your house
and check if you have a TV or not. And even if you don't have a TV, I mean, in my personal situation, I don't watch a lot of TV, but I've got an iPad, I've got an iPhone, I've got a laptop, and I'm connected in this digital world just like everybody else. I think it's kind of odd.
Kind of a gray area ongoing now, because you may just watch something on your monitor and never actually own a TV, but a large enough monitor.
They're going to consider that as your TV.
Maybe they'll consider my monitor TV, yeah.
To have people calling you up and coming to your house to see if you have a TV, because at the end of the day, does it really matter if you have a TV or not, as long as you're connected some way? I mean, pretty much everybody's connected in some way. So I just think that one is a little bit weird as well, especially in a country that already has so many different taxes and different rules. Why not just make it uniform? So with that being said, guys, those are 5 things that I think are a little bit weird about living in Sweden and Swedish people in general. If you have not subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next video.
Well, he's very well spoken, actually.
Yes.
Or he's very articulate and speaks well, very comfortable in front of the camera. I'm gonna start following this guy. Let's subscribe to him. And I'm gonna learn more about Sweden through him.
That's crazy to move to and do YouTube.
I think there's especially the younger generation, Gen Z, early millennials, the idea of moving to another country. I haven't seen it in Sweden a great deal, but there is a huge swath of vloggers who are moving, like the Philippines.
In Asia, yes.
Yeah, Asia, because
cheap.
Asia content is really fascinating. Like they get a lot of subscribers. Whether you're moving to like South Korea, the Philippines, Taiwan, these are also countries that tend to be very Western friendly as well. So they're very able to build a very big audience. But second, it's generally a lot cheaper in those areas too. So you could very quickly, make a full-time living being a vlogger in those countries by, just reducing your cost of living and getting a large following. So, I mean, we've actually been thinking about that too. And in fact, we were actually thinking about doing that even last year. And then we somehow ended up in Las Vegas here. I highly encourage more people actually do it. Yeah, I think it may seem to be pretty irresponsible to quit your jobs, everything you got, and just go somewhere. But it's the best way to honestly open your mind. Once you develop an open mind, you will become so much more successful in life in everything you do. You will not let things that you're unfamiliar with, things that you don't know, hold you back, right? Because that's where risks tend to happen in these unfamiliar areas. So kudos for him for just picking up and going to Sweden without even having a fan base. So you just never know, how well things will take off until you do it.
Right. Well, it's easier too when you're single, when you have no other responsibility. You could just
the truth. It's easier, but it doesn't make it necessarily less daunting. Because I think the idea of going to something unfamiliar for an extended period is tough.
Oh yeah.
I mean, think about it this way. Most people, when they go on vacation, by week 2, they get homesick. They go, I miss my own food. I miss speaking my own language. I haven't slept in my own bed.
I feel lonely.
Exactly. It takes about 2 years of moving to someplace new to get so familiar with it that you feel like this is comfortable. And so for a good year and a half, it's just constantly unfamiliar, on edge. Yeah, it's not easy actually for most people to do. But again, I highly recommend it. All right, that was a great recommendation. And if you have any other ones that are out there that are worth checking out, anything that immerses itself into your culture, please share with us. Whether it's Sweden, whether it's Norway, whether it's India, whether it's Taiwan, anywhere in the world. We love doing doing this, and it's a lot of fun to learn.
We love it. We love it. I enjoyed this one too.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. He's really entertaining.
Yep.
All right, y'all. Peace out.